Yeah, we can see you coming down the ladder now. And we can see you coming. Okay, I just checked. Getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far, but that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hello, today we will be talking about the space race. We will be starting with Sputnik and ending with Apollo 11.
Sputnik was the first satellite in space, launched on October 4th, 1957.
Alright, Sputnik was designed by Chief Soviet designer Sergei Korolev and was launched in the Sputnik PS launcher. Sputnik was launched in 1957, thus beginning the space race. The Americans called Sputnik Embarrassment 1 as it was an embarrassment to the government that the Russians beat them into space first. Explorer 1 was the first American satellite launched in space. It was launched by NASA, and its chief designer was actually a German rocket scientist that the Americans captured from the Second World War named Wernher von Braun. And he's the one who helped us develop the Explorer 1. But the Americans, even though they launched Explorer 1, they still considered the Sputnik being in the space burst a Russian victory. Before we continue, you need to realize how small we are compared to this universe. Earth is smaller than a proton in an atom compared to our universe. And humans are little tiny pieces of a proton compared to our universe. Our universe is forever expanding. We must realize that. In fact, our universe is so large, we can't even measure the distance in miles. We have to measure it in light minutes, which is how far light travels in a minute. For example, our sun is 8 light minutes away from the Earth. Luna 2 was designed and created by the same person who designed and created Sputnik, which was Sergei Korolev. Luna 2 was launched from Russia in 1959 and took 36 hours to collide with the moon, making it the first man-made object to touch the moon's surface. It collided with the moon at approximately 800 kilometers an hour. The first man in space was a Russian man named Yuri Gagarin. He was originally a Russian Air Force fighter pilot who was chosen out of an elite group to be the first man in space. He was in space for approximately 108 minutes and was launched in 1961. The first American in space was Alan B. Shepard. He launched in the Mercury 7 rocket on May 5th, 1961. His flight was a very short 15 minutes before he finally landed in the Atlantic Ocean, where he was picked up by helicopter. I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth. That was a quote from John F. Kennedy, and so that's exactly what we began working on.
Starting the Apollo missions was Apollo 1. Sadly, they all died burning in a fire on the launch pad.
Apollo's 2 through 3 never existed. So the next one is Apollo 4, which was the test flight of the Saturn V rocket, and they also tested the lunar reentry heat shield. Apollo 5 was the next Apollo mission, which was another test flight which demonstrated the ascent and descent propulsion on the Saturn V rocket. The 6th Apollo mission was also unmanned, and it was made to repeat Apollo 4's flight profile. The 7th Apollo mission was the first manned orbital demonstration of the Apollo missions, and it was in the Saturn 1B, and it was the first televised Apollo mission. Apollo 8 was the first Apollo mission that actually went near the moon, and they orbited it for 20 hours and orbited it 10 times. Apollo 9 was the 9th Apollo mission, and it tested the suits that they were going to use on the moon's surface. Apollo 10 was the 10th Apollo mission, and it was a dress rehearsal for the moon landing. They went down to 50,000 feet above the moon and then returned to Earth. It was finally here, after years of testing and prepping for the Apollo 11 mission, where we finally went to the moon. We used the Saturn V rocket and sent 3 astronauts to the moon: Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. This is the first stage of separation in the rocket, and then they're on their way to the moon. You truly have to wonder what they are thinking as they are traveling away from their home planet to a place never been touched by man before.
Earth is viewed from the spacecraft in the eastern Pacific Ocean. We have not been able to visually pick up the Hawaiian island chain, but we can clearly see the western coast of North America, the United States, the San Joaquin Valley, the High Sierras, Baja California, and Mexico down as far as Acapulco and the Yucatan Peninsula, and you can see on through Central America to the northern coast of South America, Venezuela and Colombia. I'm not sure you'll be able to see all that on your screens down there.
It finally happened. Humans have landed on the moon, thus ending the space race after so many years. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the human race, its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to go boldly where no one has gone before.